Versatile Mage. Chapter 591. Undead, endless of them. Not only did the wind wall protect them, it also swept the packs of zombies lunging at them into the air. The faster the wind was spinning, the greater the tearing force it produced. With so many servant-class zombies jumping at the wind wall, it simply crushed the undead into paste like a giant meat mincer. Soon, pieces of flesh and bodies were scattered on the outside of the wall. "Let's go, we can't stay any longer." Mo Fan quickly retrieved the soul remnants of the zombies and urged his team along. The wind disk gradually dispersed, leaving fresh blood and pulped flesh scattered across the land. It had cleared a spacious path ahead, yet when the team had run less than 50 meters, they quickly found themselves surrounded by new packs of zombies. Each of the packs consisted of more than 20 zombies. Their speed was 2 to 3 times that of an ordinary human. Some of their kinds with different traits could run even faster, flickering like black shadows. "Damn it, there are too many of them," cursed Shorty. "We can't stop. The zombies are rolling toward us like a surging tide. Once they roll over the path between us and the army, there's no way we can regroup with them anymore. After all, the army is clearing the zombies faster than us four," Mo Fan said urgently. Because of how grave the situation was, Mo Fan did not dare to preserve his strength further. He glanced in the 3 different directions the zombies were charging at him from and roughly estimated there to be 60 to 70 zombies attacking him simultaneously. Within a few more seconds, more than 100 other zombies would arrive too. "Stand closer to me, I'll destroy them all in one go," said Mo Fan furiously. "I'll cover you," said Shorty immediately. The star pattern appeared under Mo Fan's feet. Its blazing red color easily captured everyone's attention as usual, as if he was standing on a fiery ring that was burning fiercely. Fiery Fist. 9 halls. Mo Fan slammed his fist into the ground, inserting the rolling heat into the black soil. The team was surrounded by pitch-black darkness, yet at this very moment, 9 fiery pillars burst out from the land covered by zombies and darkness in the shape of the 9 halls. Raging flames danced between the pillars, as explosions, heat waves, and tongues of fire covered everything within 100 meters. Basically, as soon as the packs of zombies stepped into the area of the spell, they were welcomed by blazing fire pillars that instantly evaporated the zombies. Not even their ashes were left behind. The fiery pillars were utterly astonishing. Seeing the whole area covered in violent flames, Mo Fan, whose figure had turned bright red after he erupted in flames, Scarface, and Yu Qingsu understood the reason why Yao Nan had appointed him as the vice captain. Violent. Extremely violent. Scarface's Sky Snare had only killed 20 zombies before, while Mo Fan's single fiery fist, 9 halls had killed over 50 zombies in one go. It quickly resolved the difficulty they were at from being surrounded by the zombies. The remaining zombies had only survived because they were moving at a relatively slower pace and were not within the coverage of the spell. "Let's go," uttered Mo Fan, in high spirits as he glanced at the scorched land in his surroundings. The little loach pendant acted fairly quickly too. The zombies that Mo Fan had eliminated had all turned into blue-green light dots floating into its nether river. Around 80 soul remnants of the undead would be enough to refine a soul essence. Basically, the undead that Scarface and Mo Fan had eliminated were enough to refine another soul essence. Collecting soul remnants this way was extremely efficient, yet Mo Fan did not want to be too greedy, as it was only a matter of time until his energy was depleted. Besides, the number of undead was still increasing, thus resulting in denser packs of zombies lunging at them endlessly. If they made a mistake when casting their intermediate spells, it was only a matter of seconds until the zombies brought them to the ground and stacked 10 layers of zombies on top of them. With no time to strengthen the star, Mo Fan led the team and continued sprinting forwards. Little Flame Belle, spit fire. Little Flame Belle puffed her cheeks again, spitting a bright red burning carpet across the path ahead more than 100 meters long. The zombies in a straight line ahead of her melted instantly in the flames once again, before turning into blue-green light dots flying toward Mo Fan's little loach pendant. Thunderbolt. Wild strikes. Yu Qingsu's eyes emitted a purple glint of light. She pointed her finger at the path behind them, producing a huge stormy cloud up high from which thick lightning strikes descended. The zombies chasing after them had no choice but to cross the lightning zone. Fortunately, the zombies had little to no intelligence. They were completely clueless about dodging or avoiding the dangerous zone. As they stepped into the area, the lightning strikes striking them immediately blew them into a bloody mist in the air. "I can see them, I can see them, hurry up," blurted out Shorty. He finally saw the army around 300 meters away. It looked like Zhou Ming and Mu Bai were assigned to the back of the army to annihilate the zombies pursuing the army. When Mo Fan, Shorty, Yu Qingsu, and Scarface were clearing a path toward them, they suddenly felt the pressure being lifted from their shoulders, as the zombies had instead gone to surround the group of four. "They're back, clear the path for them, clear the path," Zhou Ming yelled at the other magicians when she discovered them catching up. One of the hunters opened his mouth and eyes wide when he saw the zombies being murdered en masse behind the army. It took him some time to collect his thoughts and said, "Those four are fierce as tigers. Their firepower is basically the same as a huge troop. Yeah, if I was left behind like that, I would be eaten by the undead without leaving any bones behind in just a matter of seconds. Enough with the bullshit, let's clear a path for them." "Not a problem, watch this, rolling wave. Bloodlined beast, go get them," said a summoner, casting contract summoning. A 5-meter tall muscular beast soon dashed ahead. As soon as the creature appeared, the undead nearby simply turned into midgets. A single grab would crush a zombie to death, a single swing of its limbs would knock a zombie flying, and a single bite would swallow one. The bloodlined beast charged into the pile of zombies. The creature was extremely effective against them. After all, magicians preferred to stay in groups instead of being split up into smaller groups and finding themselves surrounded by the zombies, but a warrior-level creature like the blood-lined beast was a completely different story. Its flesh was sturdy and its limbs were powerful. It would probably take the zombies half a day to kill the creature, even if it was standing in one spot. Mission accomplished, everyone, full speed ahead. Yao Nan's voice came from the sky. They'd been out here exactly 20 minutes. When Yao Nan saw Mo Fan's team approaching the army, he smiled too. It seemed like the people he had chosen did have some tricks up their sleeves. It was not easy to kill a corpse general and regroup with the army after only 20 minutes. Besides, they even had to fight their way out to regroup with the army a kilometer away. Chapter End. Versatile Mage. Chapter 592. Black Sandstorm, Corpse Official. Yao Nan was spiraling in the air above the army's perimeter. His gaze was fixed ahead, as he finally saw a group of phantom-like creatures in white among the dense army of undead. The creatures in white clothes had pale faces. Their half-illusionary figures were able to move past anything. On top of that, they were not walking along but hovering in the air. "I see you." Yao Nan grinned coldly. The army was advancing at full speed. The fire magicians had become the main firepower for the whole army. As fiery fists with wide coverage were thrown forward, there was burning blood and flesh scattering everywhere in the air. The fiery explosions left the scorched land with countless blast craters. "The group of light magicians is in front of us regrouping with other troops," called down Heavenly Eagle Battlemage, who was spiraling in the air above the army. They could see troops of magicians in various directions among the black tide of zombies. The colorful glow when spells were cast served as the brightest flags to identify the friendlies, telling the other troops that they were moving toward their assigned destination. At the intermediate level, fire magicians still played an important role, since the fire element was not as difficult to awaken as the lightning element. On top of that, the fire element was the most effective in a wide-scale war like this due to its wide area of effect. The blazing red fire carpet laid out as the troops began to merge with one another was like a path toward hope for the humans. The undead's greatest weakness was light, followed by fire. As flames erupted and burned the land, the brain-dead servant-class zombies would simply walk into the flames and set themselves on fire. The magical flames could last for some time. A zombie on fire would eventually be turned into a scorched corpse, no longer posing any threat to the living. The bright flames were the only comfort the human army could find when they were right in the middle of the undead army. Everyone was searching for the light produced by the spells, the righteous flames that countless intermediate magicians had summoned, just so they would not lose their direction on the path toward death. The other troops have arrived at their positions. Take a look at how slow your men are, said Yao Nan. The other troops consisted of well-trained battle mages. They're a lot better compared to us that were put together at the very last second, replied Jiang Li unpleasantly. Yao Nan ignored Jiang Li's grumble. His eyes were suddenly fixed on a huge black mist rising from the undead army. The black mist was rolling toward the humans like a sandstorm. Its target was the magicians that had yet to arrive at their positions. Yao Nan discovered that the undead were actually clearing a path for the black sandstorm. Something big is coming, screamed the Heavenly Eagle Battlemage in the sky. As soon as the Heavenly Eagle Battlemage gave the heads up, a flesh-colored tentacle sprang out from the black sandstorm into the air. It looked like a tongue, or an arm, or more like a lump of meat able to extend infinitely. The weird thing was incredibly fast. Before anyone could react, it stabbed right through the Heavenly Eagle that the Battlemage was riding on. The Heavenly Eagle did not even have time to cry out in pain. Its body stiffened after suffering the deadly blow, and started twitching out of nowhere soon after. The fleshy tentacle suddenly pulsed like a huge straw. It was obvious that something was being transferred to the black sandstorm. At the same time, the Heavenly Eagle withered and dried out. Its feathers had also lost their color, as if there was simply a layer of skin covered in feathers that had rotted for many years on a corpse with only its skeleton left. The Heavenly Eagle's life force was completely sucked dry within a few seconds, now looking like it was air-dried after hanging for many years at a certain spot. The Heavenly Eagle Battlemage fell from his mount with a pale face full of terror. It's a corpse official. The Heavenly Eagle Battlemage was lucky to survive the attack, but his Heavenly Eagle was thoroughly dead. If the tentacle had punctured any of his body parts, he would have been turned into a dried corpse too. A commander-level undead. Are you serious? We actually stumbled into a commander-level undead. A retired battlemage bleated out. They were not afraid of corpse generals, since as long as they all cast intermediate spells focusing on the same target, they would instantly eliminate the corpse general without leaving its bones behind. After all, their team consisted of over 40 talented intermediate magicians, and more than 10 of them possessed the fire element. However, a corpse official was a completely different story. Even if they had twice the number of intermediate magicians, a single commander-level undead would crush the seemingly unbeatable group of intermediate magicians within a few minutes. Once a group lost its formation, the undead army would surround the magicians. It would not be long until the magicians died under the filthy, disgusting fangs of the undead. We're only a few steps away from regrouping with the other squads, but we happen to stumble into a corpse official here. What do we do now? We only have an advanced magician in our group. Even though we might stand a chance if we all focus on killing the corpse official, there are still several hundreds or even thousands of zombies flanking us from all directions. If all our firepower is used to handle the commander-level undead, the zombies will eventually drag us away, one of the magicians from the Magic Association blurted out in fear. Commander-level undead were a nightmare to them. Just a single one was enough to bring death upon the whole team. What should we do now? Are we going to die here? I don't want to die. Send a signal, quick, let's ask the other squads for help. They have lots of advanced magicians. Captain, send a signal to ask for help quickly. The black sandstorm is getting closer. I don't want my life force being sucked dry like that. The magicians were already panicking. The death of the Heavenly Eagle haunted every single one of them. They could not help but shiver when they imagined their blood, flesh, and organs being sucked dry by the tentacle like a straw. Humph, useless pricks, not only are you all slow when advancing, you're also cowardly compared to the regular army. If I knew how useless you all were since the beginning, I wouldn't have bothered firing the assembling signal. Continue to press forward," mocked Yao Nan while flapping his wings. "Captain, that is easy for you to say. If you have the time to speak nonsense there, why don't you draw a few more star patterns instead? I'll deal with the corpse official in the black sandstorm. Just focus on advancing forward," Yao Nan said in a cold voice instead of his usual feminine manner. He glanced across the crowd. When he saw Mo Fan's group regrouping with the troop, he immediately said, "Vice Captain, come with me, let's go kill that corpse official." "Fuck you, I just came back," yelled Mo Fan like an enraged lion, still panting heavily. Chapter N. Versatile Mage. Chapter 593. You corpse generals, I corpse official. Yao Nan did not waste time talking to Mo Fan. He glided over to Mo Fan with a flap of his wings and lifted him into the air by grabbing the back of his coat. "All you need to do is to charge forward, forward, forward," Yao Nan said to the squad. Yao Nan flew higher into the sky, bringing Mo Fan along with him. Black corpse aura covered the whole area. Everyone could only see the two flying away above the densely packed undead army and taking the initiative to attack the corpse official in the black sandstorm. "Those two, I bet they don't even know how they are going to die," swore Jiang Li. "Yeah, that's a commander-level undead, one that even a team of advanced magicians would have trouble killing, let alone a single advanced magician, and an intermediate magician," said Zhou Ming, extremely worried. "Someone has to sacrifice their lives in a war like this. It's reasonable for them as captain and vice captain to step forward under the circumstances. We shall not put their effort in vain. Let's regroup with the army. That's right, we shall not let our two captains down. Charge! Kill those filthy creatures. If I survive this, I might even make it to the undead ranking. Ha ha." Obviously, Yao Nan and Mo Fan's action of taking the initiative to attack had eliminated their fear of the commander-level creature. It had helped to raise the troops' morale significantly. On the other hand, Mo Fan was feeling extremely unpleasant. He was forced into the dragon's swamp and lion's den even though he had just accomplished a difficult mission. Yao Nan had dragged him away before he could even catch his breath. He felt the urge to ask Yao Nan whether his previous statement of leaving the commander-level creature to him was pure bullshit. When Mo Fan was forced to join the war, he already mentioned that he would only handle servant class and warrior-level undead. If there were commander-level undead that no one could handle, he would be the first one to fly back to the walls with his fleeing shadow. In the end, he was flying above the undead army consisting of thousands of zombies. His minuscule figure was approaching the black sandstorm, which loomed over them like a mountain. He could barely see some black tentacle-like objects twisting around inside the sandstorm. "Yao Nan, we aren't even close to begin with. Let me go, and I'll still treat you as my friend. Otherwise, if I ended up turning into an undead, I will fucking rape all your boyfriends," cursed Mo Fan. "Even though I look feminine, my sexual orientation is still normal," said Yao Nan with a smile, one that was no different than the smile of a cunning fox. "What are you actually thinking of doing? I'm just an intermediate magician. Don't treat me like an expert like you who can fly, jump and kill hundreds of undead with a single spell." Mo Fan was infuriated. "Enough with the acting. 4 elements, and 2 summoned creatures. I know you don't want to use all you have when there are people around. I've brought you along on purpose so you can fully utilize all you have. Look, there are so many corpse generals down there. I'm still keeping my promise. I'll handle the corpse official myself, but I need you to keep the corpse generals busy," said Yao Nan. Yao Nan flapped his wings and spun around nimbly in the air. 3 to 4 fleshy tentacles, the same as the one that had attacked the eagle before, sprang at him, yet Yao Nan managed to dodge them all with ease. One of the tentacles even swept past Mo Fan's lower body, forcing Mo Fan to withdraw his legs by obstructing Newton's law of motion. The eerie fleshy tentacle was not capable of turning corners. It missed Mo Fan's pants by mere centimeters. Mo Fan could feel the area between his legs twitching. His expression was no longer describable with just one or two foul words. "Kill the corpse official, and its sole remnant is mine." Mo Fan began to negotiate as he knew that there was no turning back. "Not a problem, I happen to have an undead container with me, I'll keep it for you, as long as you can survive those poison tumor corpse generals," said Yao Nan with a smile. "What poison tumor corpse generals? Fuck me," Mo Fan was about to say, "I don't see them," when Yao Nan let go and dropped Mo Fan onto a tiny slope on the ground. Undulating rises could be seen across the place, yet many places were still crawling with undead. Mo Fan falling from the height of 100 meters to the ground was like parachuting into a giant pool filled with alligators. Initially, the alligators were simply enjoying their sunbath on their own. However, Mo Fan's sudden appearance immediately startled them, and their eyes glittered as they began to gather toward him. Mo Fan did not even have the time to greet Yao Nan's ancestors. To cushion his landing, he quickly cast Fleeing Shadow, and his body merged with the shadows. Lucky for him, it was still night time, with a strong presence of death. He could use Fleeing Shadow whenever he wanted. Otherwise, even if he were not bitten to death by the zombies when he landed, he would at least break a leg or two. "Swift Star Wolf, Little Flame Bell, hurry, come out and save me." Mo Fan had a grim look when he saw the zombies gathering toward him. It was no longer a joke this time. He was all alone among the undead. Although most of the undead were attracted by the army of magicians, the number of undead in his area was still shocking. Most importantly, the commander-level corpse official was not far ahead, and there were lots of corpse generals around it. He had seen at least 5 corpse generals mixed with smaller packs of undead coming toward him with just a rough glance. "Swift Star Wolf, you handle that limping one. Try and lure it to the bottom of the hill, the other undead will have a hard time going there, so you can focus on dealing with it. Little Flame Bell, build fire walls around with me at the center, I want them to cover a wide area, and burn endlessly. The stronger the better." Mo Fan used the remaining time he had left to catch his breath and allocate tasks for his 2 summoned beasts. The Swift Star Wolf would not have any problem handling a little corpse general on his own. Meanwhile, the Little Flame Bell was capable of handling a big corpse general too, yet Mo Fan would not let her fight against one by herself, as he needed her to protect him, keeping the servant-class zombies at least 200 meters away at all times. That way, Mo Fan would be able to fully focus on dealing with the corpse generals. Chapter End. Versatile Mage. Chapter 594. Killing Zombies to Level Up. Little Flame Bell had grown up after eating soul seed pieces. There was no limit to the flames she could spit from her body. Whenever she puffed up her cheeks, Little Flame Bell would spit out flames like a huge red carpet. She kept on spitting out flames, covering everything within 200 meters around Mo Fan. These were flames that could last for a long period of time. The flames were tiny at first, like weeds that had just sprouted. However, their strength lay in their ability to last, allowing them to grow stronger as they burned. The flames spread into the surrounding area, forming fiery grass carpets everywhere. From the sky, it totally resembled some kind of fire ritual, showcasing Little Flame Bell's artistic talent, developed after watching anime since she was very young. The flames covered a wide area, with lots of fire sprouts. It would take some time for them to grow into fire saplings. However, the zombies would not simply wait until Mo Fan was done constructing his fire walls. They sprinted across the fiery carpets that were still unable to pose any threat to them toward Mo Fan. One mutated zombie in particular was excessively quick, leaving a trail of wind behind. It leapt into the air when it was still 10 meters away from Mo Fan, extending its sharp claws at him. Mo Fan's arms were covered in lightning. When he caught a glimpse of the agile zombie, he immediately pushed his hands forward, directing the lightning strikes to attack the creature lunging at him. The agile zombie was struck by lightning in midair. The living ropes of electricity scorched the creature, leaving it twitching on the ground at Mo Fan's feet. Regardless of how agile the zombie was, it was completely useless after its limbs were paralyzed. Mo Fan kicked the creature away, and it fell onto one of the fiery carpets nearby. The weak flames slowly crawled over the creature's body. The fire sprouts made contact with a burnable substance, allowing the fire to grow stronger after devouring the zombie's body. Just a second ago, the fire sprouts were only the height of weeds, but now, they had instantly grown to half a meter. The little loach pendant quickly collected the zombie's soul remnant. Its continuous buzz was like an electric stick, pleading and asking Mo Fan to kill more creatures. Mo Fan scanned his surroundings and immediately discovered two zombies making their way toward him across the fiery carpets around 100 meters away. They completely disregarded the fact that their feet had caught on fire, showing no intentions of looping around the flames. Straightforward creatures like these zombies were Mo Fan's favorites. If they were any other species of demon creatures that lived in packs, even the slow giant lizards, they would never try to cross the fire carpets, as the pain from the burns would simply drive them away. However, the undead were different. They had no sense of pain. Their movements were like machines, allowing Mo Fan to use a perfect plan to deal with them. Fire burst. After Mo Fan waved his right hand, a streak of flame landed accurately on the fiery carpet, drawing a 100-meter arc in the sky. In the following second, the fire erupted into a bigger fire with a diameter of almost 2 meters. The two zombies, who happened to be standing relatively close to one another, were blasted into pieces. Their flaming body parts scattered across the fire carpet. The fire sprouts suddenly rose a meter high, like plants that had just absorbed nutrients. Even though it was still some distance away from achieving the fire walls he planned, with another fire burst and zombies as the fuel, the walls would soon be built up. Little Flame Bell flew around Mo Fan like a little fairy, spreading more carpets of hungry flames across the place. Mo Fan continued to cast fire burst from his palms and throw them at the places covered by the fire carpets. The fire sprouts continued to grow into fire walls almost 2 meters tall around 50 meters away from Mo Fan. The walls also had the ability to spread further, helping the carpets nearby grow stronger. It was safe to say that Mo Fan had managed to construct an effective defensive line of fire around himself. Burn. Keep on burning. Mo Fan asked Little Flame Bell to produce more flames while he kept on throwing fire burst onto the fiery carpets. The fire burst helped the flames to grow by blasting the zombies charging toward them into pieces, providing fuel for the fire sprouts. The fire sprouts grew into shoots and gradually became fire trees. Under all the effort that Mo Fan and Little Flame Bell put in, a wall of flames was finally constructed around them. The zombies were rapidly set aflame when they sprinted into the fire brainlessly. Although there existed zombies that were quicker or had skin that was not flammable, they still turned into fiery figures when trying to cross the layers of defense. The flames were deadly for the zombies, yet Mo Fan was not even afraid of the fire due to his outstanding fire resistance. On top of that, with Little Flame Bell beside him, Mo Fan could simply weave through the flames freely. On the other hand, unless the zombies had enough numbers to simply trample the flames and extinguish them, they would simply be burned to death in the forest of flames. Mo Fan had no intention of fighting the zombies head-on. He continued to weave through the flames while building the fire walls, erecting barriers to guarantee his safety. If the number of zombies suddenly became overwhelming, Mo Fan would not mind sending a fiery fist 9 holes across the place. The surging fiery pillars would detonate the heat accumulating in the forest of flames, which not only would eliminate the zombies that had stacked up over a period of time, it would also help the flames to grow stronger. The corpse generals had already made their way to the fire walls. It was somehow impossible for the flames alone to destroy their flesh, but the burning effect of the flames was continuous. The sturdy flesh of the corpse generals could easily endure the damage dealt by the flames, but when Mo Fan started blasting them with intermediate spells, inflicting severe damage, the burning effect would drain their life force at a much quicker rate. Little Flame Bell never stopped spitting out plant-like fire sprouts that were able to grow at a shocking rate. The zombies entering the flames were simply like logs fed into the flames as fuel. When the fire fully evolved into a dense forest of flames, green soul remnants were continuously floating toward Mo Fan from all directions, without him casting a single spell. In the beginning, the green light dots flying toward Mo Fan were like fireflies, yet as the fire grew stronger and the number of zombies increased, the light dots became denser, and at times would simply form a line of glowing dots in the air. The little loach pendant crazily absorbed the soul remnants and refined them into soul essences. Mo Fan initially thought it would take him a while to refine 10 soul essences, yet at the rate he was collecting the soul remnants, it was possible that he could finish his stars tonight. Luckily Little Flame Bell is able to produce fire sprouts of the Calamity Fire. Otherwise, I wouldn't even last a few minutes against so many zombies. The fire is now as strong as a group of fire magicians casting fire bursts continuously. I should eliminate the poison tumor corpse generals as soon as possible. Mo Fan was currently standing in the middle of a sea of flames. He was well aware that the flames were only effective against the brainless zombies. His real enemies were the 3 poison tumor corpse generals, still observing the situation from outside the fire. Chapter End. Versatile Mage. Chapter 595. Poison Tumor Corpse General. Soul Essence. I was just wondering, the zombies should be dropping a natural soul essence after I've killed so many of them. The 44th star is done. Mo Fan was in a great mood. When he saw countless zombies lunging into the flames, turning into green light dots floating into his pendant, he simply felt like countless gold coins were floating toward him. He had now strengthened the 44th star, only 5 were left until the next breakthrough. He was both excited and anticipating that happening. A 4th tier fiery fist, when Little Flame Bell was possessing him, would simply destroy everything. He remembered that when he encountered Commander Lunian, it was Muning Shui's ice crystal bow with outstanding power that had saved everyone's life. Otherwise, they would have died at the hands of that devilish murderer. If he completely strengthened all his stars, it would grant him a chance when fighting against an advanced magician. Horrifying cries came from the crackling flames. Mo Fan was still enjoying the process of watching the little loach pendant collecting the souls when a monster whose entire body was unleashing a deadly blue poison rammed into the walls of fire like a jeep. Its momentum was incredibly shocking, and even the raging flames could not stop it. Poison Tumor Corpse General, Little Flame Bell, I'll leave the zombies to you. Just keep on adding fire. Mo Fan reminded her. A bloody light appeared under Mo Fan's feet, swiftly covering his lower legs like armor. Mo Fan stomped his foot and leapt 5 meters into the air. The Poison Tumor Corpse General charged past and below him, knocking a few zombies that were caught on fire flying. Mo Fan landed on the ground softly. To his surprise, the Poison Tumor Corpse General immediately came to a stop and turned to charge at him once again, a gust of wind sweeping behind it. This time, the corpse poison surrounding the creature was even more condensed. It was like a missile filled with poison gas being fired at him. Mo Fan dodged sideways and, at the same time, a black shadowy aura appeared between his fingers. When the Poison Tumor Corpse General was charging at him like an ox again, Mo Fan flung the power of shadows at the creature. 2 black shadow spikes, each of a different size, were thrown out. The bigger spike was thin like a sword, landing on the Poison Tumor Corpse General's waist accurately, nailing it in place. Following behind that was the smaller shadow spike. It pierced the Poison Tumor Corpse General's body and swiftly turned into a few shadow chains, sealing the Poison Tumor Corpse General's soul. Try ramming me again. Time to use you as target practice. Mo Fan uttered a hollow laugh when he saw the Poison Tumor Corpse General nailed in place. Mo Fan was just about to kill the creature with lightning when a horrifying shriek came from behind him. Mo Fan turned around and saw a line of green poisonous liquid spraying toward him. Leaving aside how corrosive the poison was, the speed it was traveling at was enough to penetrate a wall of bricks. Departing nether shield. Mo Fan half panicked. He could sense how dangerous the poison was and immediately summoned the departing nether shield. The polygon-shaped dark blue departing nether shield appeared in front of him, and the corrosive poison splattered across it. Mo Fan could hear the sound of water dropping into a pot of boiling oil. The departing nether shield was made of some unique metal, allowing it to resist various kinds of attacks, including magic, yet when it came into contact with the corrosive poison, the polygon-shaped shield simply melted and turned into a shape beyond recognition. Mo Fan was given a great scare. If the poison tumor corpse general's poison was corrosive enough to melt the departing nether shield, didn't that mean it could easily melt his bones once it hit him? The departing nether shield was no longer usable. Mo Fan did not even have the chance to trigger its departing nether spike. As soon as Mo Fan learned how deadly the corpse general was, he did not dare to preserve his strength any further. He immediately summoned the black snake armor. Extending his hands sideways, he summoned the equipment mark in his soul. Blue-black snake scales covered him, turning into wriggling objects that attached to his body. The brilliance gradually dimmed after they turned into armor, fully covering him. The armor was dazzling in the firelight, containing a hint of evil in addition to the imperiousness it was displaying. Apart from wing magical equipment that could last a relatively long time, other equipment could only last for a certain period of time. As a result, magicians would not equip their armor at the start of a battle, but summon it when needed. However, Mo Fan was well aware that he was fighting against 3 corpse generals at once. One of them was as muscular as a tank, with shocking strength. The creature kept on charging at him. If it hit him, the collision would surely shatter every bone in his body. Another one was standing in the fire. Its poison was utterly deadly. Even the departing nether shield, made of magical metal, was unable to last more than a few seconds. There was no way Mo Fan could allow himself to be touched by it. The last corpse general had yet to appear. It was most likely something cunning like the cloth-wrapped corpse general, waiting to give him a deadly blow when he lowered his guard. In such a situation, every minute not wearing the black snake magic armor would place his life at great risk. Mo Fan had to admit that the black totem snake had given him a godly gift. Not only did the armor made of his scales have a shocking defense, the soft snake scales would not influence his movements at all, giving Mo Fan the ability to protect himself even though he did not possess any defensive spells. I should get rid of the one with poison first. It is posing the greatest threat to me. Mo Fan locked his gaze on the poison-spitting corpse general. The poison-spitting corpse general was a lot different than the muscular one, whose body was covered with poison tumors. Mo Fan believed it would be the easiest to kill among the 3 corpse generals. A deafening roar came from behind him, extinguishing a part of the fire walls nearby. The corpse general with poison tumors had broken free from Mo Fan's giant shadow spikes. The shadowy black aura around its body had totally dissipated. The giant shadow spikes were effective at sealing a target's movement, yet the effect would only last a very limited time when used on a formidable creature like the corpse general. Those with outstanding strength could even force the giant shadow spikes out using their presence alone. With enemies both in front and behind him, Mo Fan drew a star pattern as fast as possible. Drawing star patterns was a great test of a magician's mental state. If the magician was too desperate, they would simply break the links between the stars, forcing the magician to start over. Mo Fan was well aware of his casting speed. The situation did not give him any time to spare. He had to be quick. He must be able to cast intermediate spells at the same speed as he cast basic spells. He would never be able to achieve the speed he wanted by joining the stars. Mo Fan had to learn to draw an entire nebula with each thought. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.